It's 4 o'clock on a Friday. You know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi's Quarantini Happy Hour. Woohoo! And here we go. Thank you, fake band. Thank you, fake audience. Love that audience. Let's check out the real audience. Wow, the room is full already. Nice to see that. Hello, everybody. TGIF. Hello, Bob Gunnerfeld, Jesse J. Peck, Kristen Knight, Martin Gravel, John Pearson. Yes, the chat is working. Darren Moss. Same bunch of people. Alex Dillon, Edmund Red. I have a little frog in my throat. Peter Rayhill, fourth like. Yes, everybody give us a like. Smash that blue thumb. And if you are watching this later and you're not one of the regulars, hit the subscribe button so you can find out when we go live all the time. Hello, Ewart Williams, Mark Reel, Cass McKenty. Okay, they're trickling in now, but nice crowd here on a Friday. Good to see everybody. Let me adjust that door so I don't get that weird reflection. Okay. Weird reflection dealt with. Hello, Andre. Hello, El Raso, Dan Weber, Chris Brewer, Spiritual. So I've got a weird little story to tell you guys. So we've had two toilets in the house that were getting a little weird. And one of them finally just gave up the ghost and died. So I called American Home Shield. Excuse me. I've had issues with them before, not wanting to pay for stuff. They're pretty good about doing toilets and faucets, that sort of stuff. But I had an $1,800 breaker box that needed to be replaced. And man, oh man, they fought me and they fought me and they fought me on that one. Finally, after a lot of screaming and shouting and just hours on the phone with them, they finally replaced it. So today, the toilet plumber shows up. And so the guy, he brings a second plumber with him. They're doing the toilets. I said, by the way, I've got a little hookup for my hose on the outside of the house, and the on-off valve is leaking a little water. I've got a new valve that I picked up. Can I slip you $20 and you'll pop on the new valve? Which, frankly, I could have done myself if I felt like running out front of the house and turning off the water to the whole house and then taking it off, putting it on, blah, blah, blah. But I figured $20, I'll just get them to do it because I was right in the middle of working on some road rally stuff. So the guy does it. I walk outside as he's doing it, and he's really horsing that valve on there, giving a lot of torque on the old wrench, fixes it, turns on the water, it's all good. I said, thank you very much. They leave. Half an hour later, I go outside, and I notice that the pipe underneath the valve is now dripping water. He horsed it so much, gave it so much torque on that wrench that it broke one of the seals on a solder joint. So now I've got a leaky pipe dripping water outside of the house, thank God. So I reach out to American Home Shield. Now I couldn't say, because the guy did it off book for me for $20, I just figured, what the hell, I'll pay $75, which is the fee they charge to come out, and no matter what you've got, gets fixed. So the soonest they could get somebody to come out was on Monday. So it's just, it's probably leaking like a quarter of a gallon an hour, if that, but I fear that it could get worse, although it's metal piping, so maybe it won't. And so I talked to the first plumber that they referred me to, and they said, Monday between 2 and 6. And I said, well, I've got a show that I do every Monday between 2 and 6, so let me reach back out to American Home Shield. So I called them up. First of all, finding a phone number where you can get a human being at American Home Shield, nearly impossible. Finally got one. I actually had to call one of the plumbers, and they gave me, like the vendor hotline number. So I called that number. I was put on hold for 21 minutes. finally, a lady picks up the phone, and she's clearly working from home, which I certainly understand. She had a very thick accent and a cell phone that was crapping out during the entire conversation. It was so frustrating. I remained polite and kind to the lady, but if you were in our bedroom, which is where I was hiding because my wife was downstairs cooking, and she had the vent on, and she had the oven going and the dishwasher going, the kitchen was a cacophony of kitchen sounds, which is only like, I don't know, 12, 15 feet away from where I'm sitting. So, yeah, I'm Flex Seal. Believe me, tomorrow morning I will be going to the DIY center and picking up some flex tape and trying that stuff. Anyway, so the next available appointment from any of their vendors was a week from today. Thank God this leak wasn't in my house. It's outside, so it's no big deal. We're getting, it looks like somebody spilled a glass of water on the patio. I'm just afraid that it's going to start gushing, over the course of the weekend. Cass says Flex Seal rocks, but not for leaky pipes. I don't know. I remember one of the commercials where they took the flex tape and just wrapped it around that pipe. We'll see. Flex Seal the gopher holes. There you go. Oh, man. Anyway, you like that word cacophony, huh? I stayed up all night rehearsing that. No, actually, that's already in my vocabulary. Bonzo's making some gourmet top ramen tonight. Gotta say, as long as we're talking about what we're making for dinner, I am making galbi jim, which is big, heavy Korean beef ribs in a sauce that's made out of soy sauce, brown sugar, onions, garlic, salt and pepper, or no salt because there's already plenty of salt in the soy sauce. And doing that in the Instapot tonight with some chunked up vegetables. So hopefully that turns out well. As soon as the show's over today, I'm going to go hit the on button on the Instapot, set it for 22 minutes, and cross my fingers. John Pearson's having gourmet frozen pizza. Actually, that sounds good because it's easy. Greg Carosa's back. Yo, how are you, Greg? Let's see, we got Chuck Sadowski checking in today. Veggie wrap. Chris Brewer says the Instapot is the auto-tune of cooking appliances. I've got to say, I don't use it all that often, but the times that I have used it, I'm really impressed with that thing because you can take cuts of meat that are otherwise like shoe leather or, just chewy chunks of beef, throw them in that thing for like 15 minutes and they come out and just like fall off the bone. It's amazing. I thought Instapot was something smoke related. Yeah, it's a tincture that you put under your tongue. I've heard about that stuff. I've never actually tried it myself. So, anything big going on in the news today? All right, no politics, but wow, what a, last 12 hours this has been. Beef is the auto-tune of cooking. Oh, man. It's crazy. As I think I've said before, I will watch 3 or 4 news networks because I just despise all forms of news media. So I'll watch like CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, One America News, CNBC. I watch them all. And it's amazing how different the stories are depending on which one you see it from. But you turn on one and they said, out of caution, they're taking President Trump to, what's the name of the hospital? Walter Reed. Because I didn't know this, I don't think anybody knew this, but they've got a whole presidential office in Walter Reed. So even though they're reporting that his symptoms are pretty mild, that could change in a hurry. But out of an abundance of caution, they're taking him to Walter Reed. And of course, one network is saying, just, they're being cautious. They want all hands on deck, rather than just the White House medical staff. They've got like a full-on hospital in the White House, but I think they'd rather have him at Walter Reed. And yeah, so, one network is reporting they're rushing him to Walter Reed in not Air Force One, Marine One, the helicopter. Another one says they're taking him there out of an abundance of caution. He'll be walking out of the White House momentarily. I didn't stick around to watch the whole thing. I'm assuming he did walk out of the White House, and knowing President Trump, he probably stopped and chatted with the reporters. Anyway, so they also have medical equipment and professionals at the White House, which is why, yeah, they do. But what they don't have is like, yeah, I'm sure they have a crash cart and all that stuff there. But if I were President Trump, I'd want to be at Walter Reed as well, just so you know that you've got like a huge team of people and all the equipment and blah, blah, blah. Oh, Darren watched. Wow, all the really television signals get to Australia now? I'm kidding. He walked out. He looked fine. Didn't stop. Probably no ventilators at the White House. I don't know. They said the news said that they have a complete medical facility with everything you'd have at the hospital. What the hospital has, though, see, he was sequestered to the residents, and at Walter Reed, I think this may have started with President Reagan when he was shot. Remember that? But they've got a complete presidential office that sits there unused, waiting for occasions just like this. So, knowing President Trump, because he is the Energizer bunny of presidents, he'll probably be working through the whole thing. And anyway, my thoughts and prayers are with him, and this is not a day to be partisan. You know, as somebody on the news eloquently said, today is a day to just be American. No matter which side of the aisle you're on, just wish the man well, because he is the leader of the free world. Yeah, I went on Twitter for a while late last night when the news first broke. Oh my God, the things that people were saying on Twitter. Oh. You know, anyway, I don't want to get political, but yeah, Twitter, oh my gosh. It's just, you wonder what kind of people make up the world we live in. Maybe they just feel empowered when they hide behind a fake name on Twitter or something. But the stuff coming out of their fingertips on Twitter was just abhorrent. I wouldn't wish some of the stuff they were saying on my worst enemy. So anyway, that's that. I was thinking today it might be fun to call some of you guys. So if anybody would like me to call you and you have a question, let me know and I will look you up in the database, find your phone number, call you. Word of caution is I hooked up the phone to the Rodecaster because it's been cooperating very nicely lately without that little feedbacky thing, and sure enough, the feedback was there. So I turned, there's a switch called USB out. So I turned that on and off a few times, and the last time I turned it on, it was fine, didn't have the feedback. Whether or not that'll be the case when I make a phone call, I don't know. Darren Moss says, I could do it, I'll pay you for the international call. I don't know if I want to do international from my cell phone, but and I'd hate to make you pay for it. Had I thought about it in advance, I would say we could do it on WhatsApp, although the connection on WhatsApp sometimes can be amazingly good. Sounds like the person, no matter where they're at in the world, sounds like a better connection than you would get calling down the block. And about 30% of the time, it sounds like a World War II era walkie-talkie. Oh, look, a squirrel. Where are you? No squirrels. I actually... I did a little experiment yesterday. I put a paper plate out in the backyard with, my wife has this stuff called salad topper, and it's basically a mix of seeds and dried cranberries and raisins and stuff that she sprinkles on salads. A little too healthy for me. But she loves it, and so I took a couple tablespoons of it, threw it on a paper plate, put it right out in the middle of the yard, thinking this is going to be interesting when like 4:30 rolls around and the crows show up to do their daily grid walk of the backyard back and forth in a line looking for insects. I wonder what they'll do when they get to that plate of seeds. And I've got to tell you, ever since I put that out there, not one squirrel, not one crow. So I think I've found my scarecrow, which happens to be food that both squirrels and crows would love. Okay, yes, I have a question, so call me if you want. Alex, are you a member and will you be in our database? How important are track titles? Um, you mean like if you create an instrumental? They're really important. They should telegraph what the music is going to sound like. Like if you had a surf rock instrumental, you might want to call it something like Surf's Up. That way, if an editor or music supervisor is scanning, hundreds of them on a list and trying to pick stuff to audition against picture, and they see Surf's Up and they're looking for surf rock, they're going to know that Surf's Up is going to sound like that. So there you go. Right, salad dressing equals repellent. Yep. Alex Dillon is a member and in the database. Okay, let me see if I can find Mr. Dillon. Are you in Sarasota? And your area code is 941, Alex? All right. Let's give you a call. Oh, got to put in my earphones so I can hear you. I should say my earbuds. Earphones, very old school vocabulary. All right.
How you doing?
Hey, Alex, it's Michael. How are you?
Oh, hey, Michael. Thank you for calling. And by the way, your show is amazing. So thanks for
Thank
doing
you.
that.
All right. We're
So
getting
my question.
Okay, go ahead. We're getting a little bit of that tunnel sound, but yeah, it sounds pretty good. Okay.
I'm sorry. So there's a listing here for orchestration music, and I'm confused because the first example is like kind of an adagio, very soft. The second example is more aggressive, and the third example has a little choir stuff in it. So does that mean that you should emulate all four? Do a style in all four?
No, can you read like the first paragraph of the listing for me?
I'm not in front of my computer. I'm in the car.
Yeah,
It's underneath dispatch, and it's if you just type in the word orchestra, you should be able to see it.
I should. I just try not to have a lot of windows open because I don't
I
want to suck a
apologize.
lot of. No, that's okay. I don't want to suck a lot of processor CPU out. Anyway, the short answer is more often than not. It might say like a range of orchestral stuff, which means it could be this, it could be something like that, or it could be something like that. And that's probably the case. Usually when it's three things that are not that similar, I would have to see what the first sentence says.
Okay.
Let's see. Liz, can you look up D201007CH? Thank you, Edwin.
Yeah, because like the first one is a Disney, like I said, kind of soft, and then the second one is
Oh, okay. Here, Edmund Red already posted it. Okay, good job, Edmund. It says they're on the hunt for a range of instrumental cues in various styles. Here are some examples. So it says, but you don't have to be in the stylistic ballpark of these. These are just some ideas to get your gears turning.
I see.
So,
So
so
you can
that,
kind of write in any tempo as long as it's orchestral music. That's
right.
what you.
Yeah. It says
Huh.
a wide range of orchestral instrumental cues. Yep.
Okay, because one of the things that you have, well, what I've learned from your program is you attempt to look at the tempo and emulate the tempo as one of the first key things. So, like, what would
Well,
you go for?
no, not every time should you emulate the tempo. And we'll
Hmm.
usually tell you when the times that you would emulate the tempo would be when they've already cut something to picture.
Hmm.
Usually for a TV commercial, they've already cut something to picture, and now they're looking for something to replace the temp track, but they cut using the tempo of the temp track. So they'll
Wow.
usually tell us that get us something in that tempo, and we'll put that in the listing for you. For something like this, anything goes. You know, it's you're not
Wow.
trying to match tempo in this.
Anything goes. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate your call and good luck for everything. And we're going to miss the rally. I was really looking forward to that. So thank you for all you do, Michael.
Well, thank you, but you still get to go to the virtual rally, and I got to tell you, I made good headway yesterday. Feeling
Oh,
pretty
cool.
pretty darn good about it.
Well, tell us more. All right. Thank you so much, Michael. God bless.
All right,
Take care.
Alex, good talking
All
to you.
right. Bye bye.
Bye bye. I like doing these phone calls. That's fun. Um, Edmund Red gets a gold star for being so helpful. Thanks, Edmund. Oh man, headway is good. Yeah, I mean, you guys have been. I've told you much of this stuff, but trying to think if there's anything that I added yesterday. I do know I don't have a title for this one yet, but Michael Ames, who is one of the smartest publishers I've ever met in the industry, actually does a lot of admin stuff, but he is like this world class expert on all the things like neighboring rights, and if you put your music out online, how you can collect, how you collect for master uses, how you collect for performances, how you collect as an artist for a performance in a certain kind of scenario. As hard as I try to understand that stuff, I just can't remember it all. There are just too many ways that you can make money from music being online. Um, so Michael Ames and Bobby Borg are going to do a thing together. They're actually working on a book right now on that subject, and I love having those guys as guests on Taxi TV. I had Michael Ames. Remember last year at the Road Rally, I did the thing where I had the guy on the laptop when I did a panel about music library contracts. Michael Ames was the guy in his hotel room in New York, live via Skype or FaceTime or something. So, hello, Aaron Northern. Anyway, so I'm really excited that those guys are going to do that. I don't have an official title for the Robin Frederick thing, but let's say I'm going to come up with a better title than this. But she's going to do What Genre Is Your Song? She's going to help you guys figure out what genre your music is in today's modern music market, which I think will be really, really good. I think I told you I've got Randon Purcell doing using rises, drops, bramps, and found sounds in trailers, instrumentals, and cues with Randon Purcell. We've got several listening panels, which I'm sure you guys are happy about. We will be putting out some listings next week, and we'll do it like we did last year, where you submit to the listings. We'll have an instrumental listing. I think we've got two instrumental listening panels and two that are song related for film and TV. So we'll run a listing for instrumentals, one for songs, and then probably a third listing, which will be for the last panel of the weekend, which is always the happy ending panel, and that's kind of an anything goes panel. And I'll have somebody on there that's like a music library owner that is really good with instrumentals, somebody who's good with songs for film and TV, and then somebody else who's good for songs for records. So for that one, you can pitch anything. I got confirmation today. I'm very excited about this one. Breaking into Songwriting Camps with Hookman. I mentioned this the other day, and he and I were chatting about something today, and I confirmed him for the time and the panel topic. So I'm excited about that one because, frankly, I'm not expert on that. I wouldn't know, but Hookman was born and raised in St. Louis and came to LA years ago. The first thing he did was join Taxi. And he's had a bunch of big cuts, some hits. Incredibly nice, incredibly hardworking, incredibly smart guy. And so I said, whoa, oh, I need to kill that, don't I? So Hookman is going to be doing how to get into songwriting camps, because that's the way it's done these days. Organizing your track, songs, alt mixes, and stems with Keith LeBrant. Here's another panel I've added, although I haven't confirmed all these ladies yet, but I'm sure they'll do it, which is professionals don't make these mistakes, and neither should you. And I'm going to have Shannon Quisenberry, Beth Wernick, and Angela McCool on that one. Shannon works for a music licensing company. She was on one of the panels last year, and I just love her. She's incredibly buoyant, I guess, for lack of a better word. She's just a good person. You can feel the goodness emanating from her, and she's sharp as hell. Beth Wernick, who is a music library owner that runs a ton of listings with Taxi and has gotten tons of placements for our members. And Angela McCool, of course, is our head screener. So we'll get perspectives from all three of those ladies on the do's and don'ts of acting like a professional, because professionals don't make these mistakes, and neither should you. Another one that I'm working on finalizing, but I'm sure it'll happen, is called How Do Music Supervisors Decide What They Need? Not what they're going to pick from you guys, but when they watch a scene, or when the executive producer on a show or director on a movie, how do they know? What made me think of this was watching that TV show on Netflix called The Umbrella Academy. The music on that show is just amazing. The show takes a few episodes to kind of latch onto it. Sorry, I've got a plugged up ear today. And I put eardrops in it earlier. Now they're gurgling in there. Anyway, as I was watching that show, I kept looking at my wife, because I know one of the music supervisors fairly well. She actually did some screening at Taxi about 4 years ago. And it's like, how there's no way you could even write a brief. It's not like you could put out a brief for these songs and say, well, I need something like this. I mean, they used old music, new music, music from artists that you probably never heard of before. Not much of that, but some. And it was just astonishingly good. And it made me want to pick up the phone, although it was like 11:30 at night. I wanted to call that music supervisor that I know and say, how did you guys pick it? Who came up with the idea? So that's what I want to do, is delve deeper into the minds of the people who decide, well, why don't we use this kind of music there? I figure anytime we get a chance to understand the thought process of what makes them think of a particular genre that will work in a scene. And the funny thing about that show is you'd have a hard time describing the genres for about half the music in the shows. Umbrella Academy. Just trust me on this. The first few episodes, you'll be going, huh? What? Trying to follow it. And it just keeps getting better and better and better in the music. I mean, I had my, what's the software called? I'll tell you in a second. Shazam, that one. I got the A and the Z part right. I had Shazam working overtime in that show, and I've actually got a playlist of probably about 90% of the music used in the show that I built on Shazam. Just incredible stuff. Edmund Red's got a question. A publisher, after a deal several years ago, is now asking for 50% of the writer's share. What's your take on this? John Pearson loves that deal. I'm kidding. John Pearson does not love that deal. He brought it up on the forum. We've talked about it on the show before. Uh, the publishers are getting pressured by the show's producers to give up publisher share. Sometimes they want 100% of the publisher share. And I kind of feel for the library owners because they're like, hey, if you want to work with us on this show, then you've got to give us publisher share. So therefore, there's no way for the publisher to make money other than to reach out to you guys and say, I hate to ask you for this, but can we split the writer share? There are extremely rare circumstances where I would say, okay, I would do that deal, but those are extremely rare. We're talking like 0.5% of the time. I think it's a terrible thing. I understand. Look, production companies want to maximize their profits. Everybody in business wants to find more ways to make more money. That's what businesses do. Doesn't mean they're evil. You want to make more money doing what you do, right? So the problem is that in their pursuit of that, because they realize that musical content has value and there's an income stream from it, then they turn to the libraries, and the libraries turn to you, because libraries, if they give up 100% of the publisher share, you've got 100% of the writer's share. Where does the library get its money from? It doesn't. So it's a slippery slope, though. You know, if a few people do it, then a few more people do it, and then all of a sudden it becomes acceptable. Pretty soon there's going to be no industry left. That side of the industry, certainly. Edmund says, I'm not interested in giving up any shares and making a norm. I know, the sad part is there are always people who are newer in the industry, and they are so desirous of getting any kind of placement, making any kind of deal, that they'll do stupid stuff that throws everybody else who's more established under the bus. And therefore, those people who are, for lack of a better way to describe it, kind of young and horny, and I mean that not in the sexual sense, but, horny to do business, horny to get a placement. So I think that it may happen, whether those of us who are smart enough to realize how evil that deal is. So there you go. It's not good. I think we've only worked with one company that does it on rare occasions, and their approach is rather than them taking writer share, whatever money they make is split equally with the composers. So it's not like you're taking it in the shorts more than they are, but still it's dangerous. But these guys are true professionals. They're good people. They're honest. They're not scumbags. And, here's the deal. Is most of the time the shows they work with don't ask for that deal, but they've been offered to do deals with their catalogs for some big reality shows, and they said, okay, but we want to do this deal with you. So we've probably run somewhere around 10 listings over a period of 1.5 years for them. That was the deal. And we explain it very carefully in the thing, but we don't endorse it. I saw a question from Kira. Let me scroll back up to that. When a Road Rally panel picks a random song from the audience, how do we submit our song? Is it like a normal submission for a listing and submit to each panel discussion? You might not have been in the room earlier. I kind of explained it. Basically, we're going to have 2 instrumental listening panels, 2 songs for film and TV listening panels, and then another panel, the very last panel of the Road Rally, which is like anything goes. And I'll have people from different aspects of the industry being the so-called judges on that. So we will run 3 listings. You submit your music for those listings. We will not pre-screen this stuff. We will put it all in a disco playlist for each one of the panels. And then we will have a thing that spits out a random number. So it spits out number 62, and we go down the list to number 62 on the list, and we play that. So everybody's got a fair and equal shot. Last year what we did was everything that was submitted for the panels that didn't get played on the panels, which was obviously the majority of the stuff, we had the screeners go through and screen it afterwards. and their mandate was anything that you think is usable by some library, give it a forward. So stuff that might not otherwise get forwarded for a particular listing was forwarded for these things because it was generic, and then we just sent those playlists out to every one of the panelists on the panels. So we may do something like that this year, although I think we pissed off some people last year because it took us a really long time to get through it, because we always had more pressing priorities from clients that needed stuff more quickly than that stuff. Nobody needed that stuff. It was just we were doing that as an extra bonus to you guys to send it out to the panelists with like a 75% filter on it, if you will. Like, is it good? Would some library use it? And remember, not all libraries can use, just because a piece of music is great doesn't mean that a library will pick it up. Might not be right for the type of clients or shows they work with. Cass says network TV is bleeding out. They're going to fight to stay alive for as long as possible. Yeah, but some of these deals are happening not just with network stuff. It's like I can't say for sure that Netflix itself has done this, but production companies that make shows for Netflix and Amazon stuff have been known to do this as well. So it's scary, but there was a big brouhaha when the Discovery Channel and all their networks under their umbrella decided, they announced they were actually sending up a trial balloon, like 9 months ago maybe, or a year ago, saying that they were thinking about doing that, and everybody freaked out about it. Or was it that they were going to do, or were they going to do direct licensing? So there was a lot of pushback, and they backed off. So let's see what happens. Yeah, Lane Bell and Shrek says definitely incongruent for a publisher to give up 100% of the publisher share. Doesn't even make sense to me, other than trying to use the writers and their share, the weakest link. Well, it does make sense to me. I don't like it, but it makes sense why they do it, is because if they don't do it, another publisher will. So basically, if they have a chance to work on a big show and make some decent money, and they say, sorry, I'm not on board with that, the company's going to work with another library that will do that deal. And that's the problem, is there's always somebody newer and hungrier that will do these skanky deals. It's sad. I see Liz and Darren Moss talking about something that Darren had asked, and I promised to get back to you on this, and I haven't. If you've got a band, let's say you're an individual, you've got a Darren Moss taxi account, and you're in a band, you can submit any music that you are on as a writer, a co-writer. So it doesn't matter if it says on the submission form, the Carpenters. I don't know why I'm having a brain fart on coming up with a band name. The Benjamin Franklin Lightning Rod Society, the most famous band ever. So if you're in a band called the Benjamin Franklin Lightning Rod Society, you still submit it to your Darren Moss thing, but you can put down Darren Moss and the Benjamin Franklin Lightning Rod Society. That's one way to do it. Liz probably knows better than I, though, because she deals with this stuff every day. Discovery Channels created their own music sourcing. Well, the Discovery Channels had their own libraries for years, but they don't only use their own libraries. Ken Mesford says, my first rally will be online. Well, we'll be deflowering you virtually, Ken. It's such a push-pull thing for me emotionally. On one hand, I'm really starting to get excited about doing this virtual thing. I'm a little scared of the tech, but I've got a guy who's, I feel very confident in him handling the tech. But I will miss the fact that I won't be getting emails from people, a month after the road rally. I came all the way from Australia and I was standing in the bar, saw a panelist walk up and order a beer. So I, struck up a conversation, and now I've got a deal because I was standing next to the guy when he ordered a beer at the road rally. So that stuff won't be happening, but the chat rooms will actually be a place to meet people. But you guys are all so networked with each other now anyway. One of the problems people have with doing in-house libraries, they look at it and they go, oh, I can make money doing this, so I'm going to start a library. What they don't understand is what library owners do takes an incredible amount of time, and it's meticulous work. And so all of a sudden they realize they need to add a couple people just to do the paper pushing for their own internal libraries. And the more libraries that get used on more of their shows, the more paper pushers they need. And then they start making mistakes because they're not expert in pushing that particular kind of paper in the directions it needs to go. They know how to fill out cue sheets, but they don't know the other stuff. And they don't know how to do quarterly payments on time, things like that. And they quickly realize, wow, I had to hire all these people. They just look at it initially like, wow, I can make half the money for using music that I already use anyway. Do you need band members to sign something so we all split the royalties for a submission? Not as far as Taxi's concerned. If the band members are co-writers or have ownership of the master or the composition, then all of you would need to be on the copyright, so, for the splits. But as far as Taxi's concerned, no. Ben Franklin in the C notes, I like it. Youngest people in this chat are called quarantini boppers. There you go. Hello, Rick White. I've got a question for you guys. Rob Shirelli hasn't given me his idea of what he wants to do for his road rally panel. In the past, they've done, like advanced record production where they went around the room in the 200-seat theater and said, okay, you come up with the bass line. Nope, don't like that one. You, try bass line. No, you. Oh, I like that one. Okay, come on up here and play that bass line. And they'll build a little track with people in the room. And so that's been very popular in the past. He's also done things where he's played vintage masters, multi-tracks from like Sgt. Pepper and other famous records. Well, that we can't do. So do you guys have any good ideas? I know that he loves doing stuff with Ron Harris, who is a former A&R guy that's worked on some big projects. Very musical, very business savvy, very articulate, very inspiring guy. Personally, I would like to just see Rob and Ron do an open Q&A about anything on the record side of the industry, which would probably center around A&R, engineering, and production. Do you guys have any good ideas for what you'd like to see Rob do? If you do, type in Rob in all caps so that I can find it easily in the chat to say Rob idea and spit it out. Because I know he's going to stretch. I'm almost done with the schedule at this point and could publish it soon, but I can't publish most of it. I want to publish the whole thing, and Rob is always late. Yeah, the Indie Bible, as a matter of fact, we actually push out emails for them probably 5, 6, 7 times a year we're friends with them. We do little email trades. We don't actually trade addresses. Just we'll send out an email for them. They send out one for us. And I've gotten to know the owner of Indie Bible pretty well over the last few years. He's a good guy, and so yeah, I endorse Indie Bible's products. They're good. They're a good company. Okay, Rob, get him to mix a track live. Well, where's my pencil? Here, a pen. Mix a track live, because we all know you can mix a record in an hour, right? And then which music is he going to use? Yeah, see, that's the problem. Labels wouldn't see that as promotion, Darren. They would see that as somebody hearing a record before it was ever released and people grabbing bits of it and doing God knows what with it. Much as I love you, I don't love that idea. Am I calling a second person? I could. What are other revenues involved in a publisher's take besides 100% publishing rights? That's it. Is they get the publisher's share. Let's see here. Looking for other Rob stuff. Mix a track. Rob, give them a choir and have them create a pop gospel tune. How do I give them a choir? How do you acquire a choir? How much does it cost to join Taxi? $299.95, $300 a year, which works out to a mere $25 a month. And you get 2 free tickets to the best music convention of its type anywhere on the planet Earth. We could get Rob to talk about making gospel records. He certainly does a lot of that these days. The problem is, I don't know if it would apply to a broad swath of our viewership or our membership. I think it might only be something that, like 10% of our members are interested in. I'm not sure. No mentoring at the rally. We thought about it long and hard, but the problem with mentoring is we'd be connecting mentees with mentors directly, and every time there's a tech problem, which would be 20 or 30% of the time, it's like we couldn't get Skype to work, or we couldn't get FaceTime to work, or whatever the platform is, couldn't get it to work. And I blew my whole 15-minute mentor session trying to get the tech to work. Can you reschedule me? We would have dozens of people calling the office, freaking out, and then we'd have to reach out to the mentors and say, okay, can we try again at 4:15? Oh, you're not open. We just decided we'd be biting off way more than we want to chew. Who's Rob again? Rob Chiarelli, spelled like Chiarelli. Google him. You'll be impressed. Go to finalmix.com and you'll see his credits. Mixing an original. I don't know if they still print a hard copy of the Indie Bible. That's a good question. The tech suicide hotline. We could send goats to people to calm them down. Cass, I follow a thing on Twitter, which is the only thing I really like on Twitter, to be honest with you. And it's called like goats or more goats or something like that. Every few days, I get these little 15-second video clips, mostly of, pygmy goats or baby goats, just doing adorably funny, cute stuff. Show us how to use EQ, compression, reverb, etc. in a recording at home so it sounds like the pros. Can't you get that online, honestly, Darren? And the fact is, I mean, he's got a room set up in 1/3 of his garage. He's got a room that he does probably most of his, certainly in the last 6 months, all of his work is done there. But then you get into the weeds, like, are we talking compression 101, a basic class? And so here's what the threshold is. The threshold is the amount of volume coming in that triggers the sensor to then compress the audio by a ratio of 3:1, which means for every dB over a certain threshold, you're going to kick it back down 3 dBs. I mean, that's such basic stuff that is already all over YouTube. I think about you often, Cass. I really do, like several times a week. Whenever I see goats anything, I love goats. I always think about you. Man, what I wouldn't give to wake up to goats every morning. Right. Arasso says, how to use plugins is very context dependent. It is. Rob could probably do an entire hour on just how to get a good kick drum sound. Or then again, you could just layer a bunch of kick drums that already exist. I mean, things are so different now. This is so cool. I've been a piano organ teacher or player for 24 years. Cool. Is this your first time watching one of our shows? I said Trevor. I meant Trayvon. Trayvon Real as opposed to Trayvon Unreal. I wonder what the big time pros do with the idea of using loops. Thoughts? My personal opinion and observation is that, yeah, they use loops sometimes, but they doctor them up like crazy. So many of the loops are so commonly known by so many people that, first of all, if you don't doctor them up considerably and you ever have to send out stems, as we've talked about before, and you've got one of the loops in the clear, that's a no-no. It's a publishing no-no. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of hip-hop guys use loops, but they just alter them like crazy. They edit them, they remix them, they add stuff to them. Oh, it's your third show. Okay, great. Well, glad you're here. 1990s group loops were grossly overdone. Marion's DAW came with an upgrade stem maker. That goes with the seed maker. What does Taxi look for in a song? Well, go to taxi.com, and in the lower left quadrant of the homepage, you'll see a red button that says, see what the industry is looking for right now. You click that button, get on our email list, and every day you'll get 2, 3, 4, typically around 3 new industry requests every day of the year, and you can see exactly what the industry is looking for. It's not what Taxi is looking for, it's what the industry is looking for, and our job is to find stuff that is over the quality bar and matches their need. As I've explained many other times, so for the rest of you who know this drill, pardon me for repeating it, you could have the greatest song in the world and want to get it in a TV show, but if it doesn't work with the scene, meaning the mood, the emotion, the tempo, the texture, the the style. I mean, you could have the greatest hard rock song in the world, but if somebody's doing a romantic scene that results in a breakup, it's not going to work there. So it's just not about having the greatest song. We don't just send stuff out to the industry. Check this out, man. It's really awesome. We send them stuff that we can say, here's something we think answers exactly what you asked us to find. Can we get you some more likes for this show? Sure. Everybody, please go smash that blue button. Thank you for bringing that up, Carrie. Hey, Cass, can I give you a call so you can... Oh, man, we've only got 5 minutes left. Oh, man. I wanted to get an update on the Open. Let's do that next week during one of the shows. I'll give you a call. You can tell us what you do for the Open and how it was this year working under the constraints of COVID being omnipresent and having to wear a mask all the time and all that good stuff. Yay, more likes. Thank you, guys. Grandpa Doc Middleton says, watching TV will never be the same. Now always listening for the music. That's how you become professional and good at what you do, and we are all cursed with that. It's a blessing and a curse. It's free education. And not only listening to the music that's used, but understanding why it got used. Listening to the lyric. Oftentimes you hear just one line of a lyric where the mixer on the show just bumps up that lyric on one line, and that would probably be a result of them using stems so that they don't bring the whole track up, but they probably goose the lyric and, on a lyric that's for that previously mentioned breakup scene. Maybe there's a lyric in the chorus that says, I fear I'll never see you again, and they bump that up like 2 dB, just a little subtle bump, just to make you think, did I just hear that? It kind of underscores the message of the scene and the emotion of the scene. We always called a mixed blessing and a curse a blurse. That's nice. It's kind of like a snart. You know what that is? My wife laughs at me when I record generics. Peter Rahill, I was watching a 71 James Garner Western. I miss James Garner. That dude was awesome. And recognized an Irish traditional tune in the bar fight scene. There you go. Yeah, James Garner was a class act. What was the movie he was in with Will Smith? Riverboat was in it. I think it was a remake. I think actually Shirelli mixed all the music for that. What was it? Maverick. That's right. Pretty sure Rob Shirelli mixed. I think he may have actually produced a couple of tracks. Hey, Michael, because of your Rodecaster podcast demos, I've started sending applause links to my students. They love it. Awesome. Yeah, loops are like heroin. It didn't take me more than 5 minutes to figure that out when I recently got Logic X or Logic 10, whatever they call it, and decided one night to sit down and just learn where the buttons are and what they do without watching hours of tutorials, because that's the way I work. And I started building stuff from loops, and literally inside of a few minutes built a little disco track the other day from loops that came together far too easily. That's right, Jodie Foster was in that movie. A Rob idea. Maybe you can talk about musicianship and how the The source you record is what makes a mix go easy or difficult. We've already talked about that extensively almost every time he's on the show, and you just explained it right there, Ken. You don't need Shirelli to tell you that. Everybody knows that. You could take the best drummer on a $69 kit from Costco, and it would sound better than a crappy drummer on a $5,000 kit. So you answered your own question. Am I setting up a URL for a virtual lobby, a virtual bar? Should we post our virtual Hangouts in the forum? I don't know yet. We're probably not going to do one. Several people have suggested. The problem is when. We're literally broadcasting. Not that everybody's going to watch every panel. You know, somebody who's doing songs for records has no interest in film and TV probably wouldn't watch some of the film and TV panels, and vice versa. But when we're going to be broadcasting panels from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then have showcases at night from probably like 6:15 or 6:30 until around 8:30. So, you know, and that's Los Angeles time. So by the time that stuff wraps up, it's going to be approaching midnight on the East Coast. And for all you guys in other countries, that will suck. Wow, Darren Moss is surprised that Logic didn't have more loops or virtual drummers. I'm sure they've got more loops. You probably just have to pay for them. Oh, Ed Hartman's your teacher. Awesome. I love Ed. Yeah, we're doing a show on Monday. Oh, I should talk about that because we're a minute over time. Monday's Taxi TV is going to be you guys in the A&R seat once again, and we're going to be listening to forwards and returns on a recent country listing. So I'm very excited about that. And as far as quarantinis go, I will let you know on Monday which days that I'm going to do quarantinis. But I would say I'll do at least 2 quarantinis next week. I do have The Plumber coming out Monday, like right in the middle of Taxi TV, to finish soldering that pipe that sprung a leak on the outside of the house today. So hopefully my wife will be around. Did the taxi just move? I hope not, because if it did, we're doing something more than Quarantini Happy Hour here. Rob idea. Can he sing or dance? I've actually worked with Rob on some of his own material like 30 some years ago. Not a bad singer, actually. Where can I get an A&R seat? Amazon? Probably. They sell everything else. All right. Well, it's Friday. Thank God. It was kind of a butt-busting week here at Taxi remote headquarters. I'm glad it's over, although break out the violins. Will I be working all weekend long? Really, like 6 or 8 hours Saturday, 6 or 8 hours Sunday? Yes, I will. But don't feel sorry for me, because it's good work. It's going to make the road rally be really, really, really good. So that's it. Thanks for showing up, you guys. Love hanging out with you. Like having this little send-off for the weekend. Thank you, Liz. Thank you all for coming. Let's break out the band and sign off. And don't forget, Monday, 4 o'clock, you are in the A&R hot seat. See you guys. Woohoo!